you glad the saints pray? I'm so glad they pray for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know where I'd be today if somebody hadn't prayed for me. I don't know where I'd be today.
Ever get sick on a weekend with 2 days until the next available doctor's appointment? Not fun. So having Atlantic Care urgent care centers nearby really helps.
With my outpatient procedure, I went home the same day, recovered fast, and was playing the next season.
Being surrounded by a whole team of experts, how could you not feel like everything is going to be okay?
They used the technology I hadn't heard of to treat a condition I didn't even know I had. Thankfully, I'm better now.
Last month, Atlantic Care saved my husband's life. They've been making our lives better for years.
For every member of your family, for every moment of your life, Atlantic Care is here. With all of the providers, treatments, and personalized care you could ever need at over 100 locations across southeastern New Jersey. It's accessible care. It's exceptional care. It's Atlantic Care. To schedule an appointment, visit atlanticare.org.
Kelsey and Kim's is now open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Takeout only, 609-350-6890. Pickups only, delivery service coming soon. Address 201 Melrose Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Kelsey and Kim's is now open for takeout, the best Southern cuisine.
Holy can reach sunshine without selling.
Hello, WEHA listeners. This is Lisa Diane Hall, General Sales Manager here at WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM, where we have gospel and we have talk. We'd like to thank you for listening and sincerely appreciate your continued support over the last 10 years. Thanks to all of you, WEHA is now a 2-time Stellar Award-winning gospel radio station with a recording studio right here in your local community. As the newly appointed General Sales Manager, it is my goal to share my 20 years of experience in broadcasting and marketing with your church, business, or organization. I am pleased to announce WEHA's new community branding partnerships, where you have the opportunity to be heard on all of WEHA's platforms, including 2 FM bands, WEHA WeHaveGospel.com, and all of WEHA's social media pages, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. WEHA is currently seeking new Sunday morning programming and new talk shows. For more information or to arrange a WEHA studio tour, you can reach me, Lisa Diane Hall, at WEHA Studios at 609-641-8870. That's 609-641-8870. WEHA is Christ-centered, community-focused, and listener-supported.
WEHA. It's more than music. It's ministry.
WEHA, Port Republic, Atlantic City. And now on FM translator 100.3 W262CF, Atlantic City. WEHA is a listener-supported radio station. To make a donation, call 609-641-8870. Visit our headquarters at 3 Canal Drive, Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, 08234. Or log on to our website, WeHaveGospel.com.
We have gospel.
Just tune in. You're listening to In the Community with Dr. Thelma Witherspoon right here on your favorite gospel radio station, WEHA Gospel 88.7, 100.3 FM. We have gospel. We are live in the studio on today, and we have a wonderful program for you. We want you to have someone to tune in the Community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish. Just a few things before we get started. This broadcast has been brought to you by the Hawks family businesses who have been serving our community for over 30 years, and Beacon Hall, turning moments into memories. Also, Alpha and Omega Daycare Center. We want to thank you for sponsoring In the Community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish. So we are excited about that, and we got a good show for you today. I got a few things that I want to make sure that everybody is fully aware of what's going on in our community. First, I want to say and foremost, with everything that has happened over the past few months, over the past few years, but especially the past few 10 days, it's okay to feel outrage. But it's what we do next that determines if these tragedies will lead to change. So we want to make sure that things that are being done are not being done in vain. And I want to thank Jared Thomas for that dialogue that we had on this morning. So we want to make sure that these tragedies lead to change. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here to make sure that we have some change? Also, on today, the household hazard waste drop-off started at 8 o'clock this morning and will end at 1 o'clock p.m. at the ACUA, which is the Atlantic County Utilities Authority in Egg Harbor Township. You want to make sure that you drop that off. On tomorrow, there will be a prayer for change. And this is going to be held at the Evangelical Fellowship Church, 521 Dowdy Road in Pleasantville, New Jersey. And it's going to start at 3:30 p.m. sharp. And the coordinator for this event is Beyonce Jerkins. And she's done a fabulous job putting this program together. And I am one of the speakers on tomorrow, along with a lot of local speakers that we have, great speakers from our community will be there tomorrow as well. So if you're not doing anything, swing on by to Evangelical Fellowship Church, 521 Dowdy Road in Pleasantville, New Jersey at 3:30 p.m. for a prayer for change. Also, I want to let everyone know, if you are going to the doctors now, I told y'all, I believe a couple of weeks ago when I went to the doctors, I had to get my temperature taken in the car before I could go inside to the doctor's office to be seen. Well, I had a test that had to be done on this week that I had been waiting on since November. And the process now is, and some of you may experience this, you have to take a coronavirus test before you are allowed to see certain physicians. So I did. My results was negative, thank God. And but I want to explain to you what they do. They take something that looks like a Q-tip with a very long stick, and they have a solution and stick it way up your nose, both noses, and then they put it in a light pink solution, and then they mail it off or send it off, and then you get your results in a couple of days. If you refuse to take that COVID test, then you may not get seen by a doctor. And like I say, I have been waiting since November. It took me 4 months to get into the specialist, and then it was canceled because of COVID-19. And then the only way for me to do it now was I had to take the COVID-19 test, which I did do. And thank God it was negative. So I'm still reiterating that in order to stay safe, we still have to do the things that we need to do, which is wear your mask, constantly wash your hands, and social distance. So that's very important. You can find a lot of the updates on Governor Murphy is just about every day he does a briefing, and you can go to his page and website to see any updates that you want to anything that you want to know that's happening in reference to COVID-19, especially in New Jersey. But also if you live anywhere else, I'm sure there is a national CDC COVID webpage, because I have that on my page as well, to find out what is going on nationally, globally, and locally So it's important that we stay up on things for change. It's important also to remember that the primary election will be July 7th. Primary election will be July 7th. And the Governor Murphy signed an Executive Order 114, which indicates that this will be a one-time, for right now, a one-time voting method. So your ballot will come inside of if you are a registered Republican or Democrat, your ballot will be mailed directly to you with a postage stamp. And then you will fill out the ballot and mail it back. And they're supposed to go out on this week coming up, starting June 12th. So as soon as you get it, there's going to be a brochure also on the inside of that ballot to show you, and you got to follow the directions to the T in order for your vote to count. So we want to make sure that everybody is fully aware of that. And we got a good show for you today. We got a good show, and my first caller is calling in on today to the show. All right? So make sure that you do all of those things in order to... Okay. Hello?
Hello, is this Thelma?
Yes, it is. I'm so glad to have you calling in on my show. Is this Richard Cheek?
Yes, it is.
Thank you for calling in on my show on today. And this show today is for candidates that are running in Hamilton Township. Hamilton Township. And I had got a little mixed up, but I made it right with Mr. Cheek. And make sure everybody, if you're going to vote on this particular election in July, on July 7th, by mail-in ballot, you have to be already registered as a Republican or a Democrat. If you are an independent, you have the opportunity to change. If not, you have to wait until the November election in order to vote. All right, Mr. Cheek, thank you so much for calling in. And you are a candidate for the primary in Hamilton Township.
Yes, I am.
And I want you to tell my listening audience something about yourself.
Okay, I am 62 years old. I have a local business in Hamilton Township, a plumbing contracting company. I am the chairman of the planning board in Hamilton Township. I raised two daughters, my wife and I. They went through all the athletics and everything through Hamilton Township. And now I'm running for the committee seat in Hamilton Township.
Is this your first run?
Yes, it is.
And what made you decide to run for this committee seat?
Basically, after I was on the industrial park, or the industrial committee first, then the planning board, and now I see that as a stepping stone, and I just feel as if moving forward, learning a lot on the planning board, I am very business friendly, and I would like to continue to bring business into the township itself.
Okay, that's good. So what have you? It's been different trying to campaign since of COVID-19.
Oh, yes, it has. When I decided to throw my hat in the ringer, no one ever heard of COVID-19. So a lot of things have changed every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I understand in Hamilton Township on today, and you can confirm or not confirm that there's supposed to be some type of rally today?
I don't think it's today. I think they're in talks about having a peaceful rally.
Okay. They're talking about it. Okay, so they're not going to do it today at 12.
As far as I know, it's not today. It'll be in the future.
Oh, okay. Well, I thank you for bringing clarity to that, because I had got several phone calls. It was supposed to be today at 12 o'clock.
I could be wrong. I believe me. They may not know about it, but like I say, I could be wrong.
All right. So you're running for. I did go on your Facebook page, and I did look at it. I didn't know that you were on the planning board.
Mm-hmm.
And so how are you connecting with your voters?
Uh, the ones that know me, a lot of people know me. I have to say that, and it's very difficult right now with this COVID that you can't go out, you can't walk the streets, you can't have fundraisers, you can't meet face to face a lot of people.
That's true.
Been very difficult.
That's true. That's true. Well, I'm going to wish you the best in the campaign, and you're running on the Republican ticket.
Yes, I am the Republican Party's candidate. I have their support.
All right. And, well, that's very good. I really appreciate you calling in on the show today. What message and how can people contact you if they wanted to?
They can contact me if they can contact me by telephone at area code 609-204-3503 or on Facebook.
I appreciate. What message would you like to leave with my listening audience on today?
I would message is that my platform is to move the township to keep the future brighter, and I really feel as if we certainly have changes ahead of us because of the COVID crisis, and that we're just looking to keep the future brighter and keep the good stuff going that's been going on in Hamilton Township.
Well, I want to thank you very much. I wish you the best on your election.
Okay.
And keep the fight.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right. You just got finished listening to Richard Cheek. He is one of the candidates for Hamilton Township Committee. And my purpose of doing this show on today is to let people know that besides the presidential and the congressional races, senator races, there are local races that we must pay attention to and that we must participate in our local elections. And a lot of times we are voting from the top and leave out the bottom. But wherever you live, in whatever municipality that you live in, make sure you are selecting the people that you want to choose to represent you in your municipality. I think that is very, very important, that we pay attention to what is going on. I believe change begins at the bottom up. Leadership starts from the top down, but change begins from the bottom up. And it's very important that we elect people that represent our morals and our values. I think that is important. This is an important election. And we do not want to get deterred and not fill out the census, not vote in the primary and in the general election, because it will have there will be a lot of repercussions if we don't. When I say repercussions, when you don't vote in the census, when you don't fill out the census, then monies and allocations of monies in your particular municipality and in your communities are not distributed proportionally and the way it should be done because you didn't fill out the census. So fill out the census and make sure that you vote. Your vote does count. Yes, you are absolutely correct. In the presidential election, it's the Electoral College that makes that decision on who will be president. So I'm not saying we don't have any say-so in the presidential elections, because I think that the Electoral College basically votes by the number of people who vote in their particular state, and that's how that vote is cast from the Electoral College. But our Senate races, our congressional races, it's important that we have the right people in the seat. Even locally, it's important that we have the right people in the seats in order to make that particular change. So it's important. And we want people to make sure that you are registered to vote. Normally it's 21 days prior to an election that you can register to vote. So that's important. It's actually important. And I can't state it enough. If you want to see change, then you have to be the change that you want to see. And that is a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. You got to be the change that you want to see. And so we can be outraged. I myself, I was outraged, not just with George Floyd, But with the lady, Miss Taylor, her birthday was yesterday. She would have been 27 years old. She would have been 27 years old. And it's unbelievable, some of the things that are going on in our country and in our community. So you got to be about that change, and you got to make you got to make that change happen. And when we vote, there's power in the vote, there's power in numbers, and there's power in your vote. It's really hard to listen to someone who doesn't vote. But when you vote, you are exercising a right that we have as Americans to make our voice heard. And I think that is extremely, extremely important during this particular time. I believe that there is hope. I believe that there will be some change in our communities, but I believe that we're going to be the ones that help this change be. So, and also, thank you, my co-host, thank you. Governor Murphy's Executive Order 114 is a one-time voting method. So normally when people would vote by mail, you were locked in to vote that way all the time. But because of the COVID-19, Governor Murphy signed that Executive Order 114 as a one-time voting method. In November, we will probably be able, hopefully, go back and vote on the machines. But for this one, in July 7th, that is the only way that you can vote. Now, I am very aware that if you do not vote properly, your vote will not be counted. It won't be counted. So you have to follow those instructions, and perhaps I will even do a show. Me and Lady Parrish will even do a show making sure people are totally aware on how to vote on that ballot. It has to be exactly, but I think they've done a good job to put brochures in the packet, in your envelope, to show you how to do it. And actually, as soon as I receive mine, I'm going to make sure I go through all of the steps and bring that information back to my listening audience. All right, so that's truly important. I got a few more things here. I think also I want to say something about a lot of the marches were peaceful. And this is our constitutional right. We have the right to gather in a peaceful manner. And it's a part of our amendment number 1. And it appears that even in Atlantic City and all over the country, that after the peaceful rallies, then there were a lot of looting. And it made it appear as if the people who were doing the peaceful rallies was also a part of the looting. And that's not true. It's not true. And I know for a fact, I don't know for a fact, but I have heard, even in Atlantic City, if there was a peaceful rally, and after it was over, many of the people who came in and looted did not live in Atlantic City. And the same thing has happened in Philadelphia, all over the country. When I talked to some of the ministers, there were people from all over, and people were coming in who didn't live in those particular cities that were looting. They didn't live there. I do find it very interesting, and not making any negative statements, I should say, that a lot of things were closed for several months. And the pandemic did not cover stores, of things of that nature. But if there was theft, now they can collect from the insurance. So they won't be, everybody will be getting a piece of the pie right about now. So we want you to continue to pray for our country, pray for our communities, and do more than pray. because faith without works is dead. You have to go out and you have to vote, and you have to make sure that your voices is heard. Now, I do have two more guests that were to be calling in, and one has not called. One has called in, and I'm waiting on the other. The other person has not called in yet, but I'm sure that they will call in on the show. Also, I saw that Michael Jordan has donated $100 million to the radical equality causes. That is huge. That is huge. And I was listening to CNN last night, and they said, Hughley said that when Michael Jordan speaks out, you know that there has to be something seriously going on. Well, my next caller is calling in now for my show. And this is another Hamilton Township candidate that is calling in on the line. Hello? 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 Hi, this is my next candidate. Is this Judy Link?
Yes, it is.
Thank you for calling in on our show in the community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish. And you are a candidate for Hamilton Township Committee. I want you to say something about yourself, Judy.
I'm having a delay. Hold on. I'm having a delay on my phone here.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I would like to say, first of all, thank you, Thelma, for hosting this show. It is very informative, and I'm proud to be speaking on your show.
Thank you.
As far as my background, I have been a lifelong resident of Mays Landing.
Just keep talking, Judy. I don't know why you're having that delay on your phone.
Okay, well, just keep talking, Judy. I don't know why. Okay. You're having that delay on your phone. Okay, I would like to say that I am a business person in the community, and I have my husband and I own and operate Young Skating Center.
Excuse me, Jody. Excuse me.
Recreation for our younger and older residents. We have served here for. Yeah.
Yeah, please, Judy, please turn down your radio. That's what's causing it.
What?
Please turn down your radio.
Okay, I'm going to turn that off. Okay. All right. Yes. Sorry, the radio was interfering. But what I would like to say is my husband and I have been for the last 25 years, have been the owner of Young Skating Center. Prior to that, my parents built and operated Young Skating Center. And we have entertained thousands of people of all of a great diversity at our facility, and we do so proudly. Now, I was elected as a township committee person, and I was in minority. We had 2 Democrats and 3 Republicans on there the whole time I was on the council, which made it very difficult for me to affect a change. But I proudly say that my partner, Rodney Grichard, and myself spearheaded the selection of our present chief of police, Mr. Sam Brown. And we based it on interviews with 5 other candidates, and Mr. Sam Brown has been actively participating in community relationships. And that's what stood out in my mind. It stood out in Rodney's, and he was able to convince the other people on committee to vote him in. Now, if he is not doing his job on committee for the township, it is up to the township to release him or vote for another chief of police. So, the candidate that you select for your township committee is very vital in the relationships from the police. And we proudly say that he has been doing a great job. But that is not true in all cases, as we've seen throughout the country. Police departments are led by their police chief and their mentalities. And this that happened with Floyd should never have happened.
Absolutely. Now, Hamilton Township is still under a curfew, right?
Yes, it has been under curfew. Apparently, Atlantic County is under this curfew from 7 to 7. And, I think that is a way of trying to maintain order.
Let me ask you something.
That they have told me that the march or protest situation over at the Hamilton Mall, people were angry, all right, but our police chief, Greg Sambro, brought an understanding to them, and by the time it was over, people were hugging each other, and it was a great event. So that doesn't happen unless the leader at the top says it will happen. And we know that in our business. If we are, if we say that we're not going to allow certain people into our facility and create a police state, it just comes from the top.
Absolutely.
And we are not about that. And that's why I am so adamant about everyone voting. Keep your eye on the prize.
Keep your eye on it. Well, we want you to hold that thought because we're getting ready for a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Okay. Thanks.
Now open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Takeout only, 609-350-6890. Pickups only, delivery service coming soon. Address 201 Melrose Avenue, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Kelsey and Kim's is now open for takeout. The best Southern cuisine. The weather outside is frightful.
But the gospel is so delightful. Yes.
Check out our new website at www.wehavegospel.com.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org.
Brought to you by the
Hello,
Ad Council and the National
WEHA
Highway
listeners.
Traffic
This is
Safety
Lisa
Administration.
Diane Hall, General Sales Manager here at WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM, where we have gospel and we have talk. We'd like to thank you for listening and sincerely appreciate your continued support over the last 10 years. Thanks to all of you, WEHA is now a 2-time Stellar Award-winning gospel radio station with a recording studio right here in your local community. As the newly appointed General Sales Manager, it is my goal to share my 20 years of experience in broadcasting and marketing with your church, business, or organization. I am pleased to announce WEHA's new community branding partnerships, where you have the opportunity to be heard on all of WEHA's platforms, including 2 FM bands, WEHA WeHaveGospel.com, and all of WEHA's social media pages, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. WEHA is currently seeking new Sunday morning programming and new talk shows. For more information or to arrange a WEHA studio tour, you can reach me, Lisa Diane Hall, at WEHA Studios at 609-641-8870. That's 609-641-8870. WEHA is Christ-centered, community-focused, and listener-supported.
If you just tuned in, you listen to In the Community with Dr. Thelma and First Lady Parrish. And we want to say that our show is being sponsored by the Hawks Family Businesses, Beacon Hall, and Alpha and Omega Daycare. We're going to continue. We have a few more minutes with Judy Link, who is a candidate for Hamilton Township Committee. Judy, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
I want you to tell everybody what is your platform before you go off, and how can people reach you?
Well, they can meet me on or email youngs_21@hotmail.com and on Facebook.
Okay, and on Facebook. What would you like to leave with my listening audience?
I would like to say that if you want change, you got to vote. We have the greatest number of Democrats voting in Atlantic County. And if we desire to change things, we must get out and vote, or we must send in our vote correctly. Take it very seriously. You are the ones who will change this whole structure of from the bottom up. It's so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I want to ask you one question before you leave. We were talking earlier, and I had heard from other people that there was supposed to be a rally today in Mays Landing. Did you hear if that's on or off?
I haven't heard from the several people that I called, who were, and they were supposed to get back to me if it was on. So I don't think it's on, but I can't say for sure.
Okay, that's the same thing that Mr. Cheek said. He had heard that they had moved it to another time, but I wanted to make sure, because I had received the same type of calls you had received.
Okay. Well, I think I would love to see our police chief and his, members of our department, which I believe in my experience with the police and their work in Hamilton Township, especially at my establishment, and we get some rowdy teenagers that don't want to listen. They are so respectful, so, they listen, they take notes, they come to some resolution, and they've been great. So, as far as I'm concerned, I am so proud of Rodney and myself for calling for this interview of all the candidates, because Greg was not one of the ones who was going to be selected for chief of police. It was going to be an automatic thing, and we stood firm. Even though we were a majority, they were able, for some reason, they listened to us. So I would love to see Greg and the community, as well as our police officers, be there and come to a very respectful, solution. And, I just think it's important for our community to, meet these people. And they have, as I have seen, they have made every effort to be out in the community.
Well, your point,
make relationships.
your point is well taken, and I want to thank you for calling in on the show. You're the second candidate that is running for Township Committee, and certainly I wish you the best. So far, who's called in has been Richard Cheek, and also you, Judy Link. We want to thank you so much for calling in on our show on today, and I wish you the best.
Thank you. I thank you for your show. It's very, very informative. Very good.
All right.
Very inspirational.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you just heard from Judy Link. She's also a Hamilton Township Committee person, and it's important that you go out. We have one more that's going to call in, and that you make your voice heard. Your vote count on who you want to represent you in Hamilton Township. And again, I was talking earlier, because a lot of times people get so caught up in the congressional race, the presidential race, and they are important. But we also need to make sure from a local level that we are voting for people, as I said earlier, who represent our morals and our values. All right, so that's important. So if you're not registered, it's important for you to be registered. I think there's over 17,000 registered voters in Hamilton Township. And make your voice heard. Make your voice heard on who you want to represent you in this upcoming year. And I think it'll make a difference. Leadership is important. Leadership starts from the top. Starts from the top. And if you don't have the right people in, they will not make the right choices or decisions for you. And it's also important to hold people accountable. Don't just vote them in and never show up. Don't go to no meetings or anything. Once you're voted in, hold them accountable. Make sure that they're finishing out their terms. Make sure that they're doing what they need to do. Because when you vote for people, you vote for them to represent you in your community and in your district. And I think that that is so important. Very, very important that we get that done. So make sure that you're doing that. And I believe also that the school board elections is also on that time too. There's a lot of money in the school board. And I know for a fact, because I was on the school board at one point 20 years ago. And I didn't realize so much money went through the school board. So there's a lot of things that go on. And you need the right people in position to make sure that the kids are benefiting from your choice. Your choice. And again, if people don't do what they're supposed to do, hold them accountable. Call them out in a respectful way. But call them out and hold them accountable. Don't just say we voted for you and it's over with. It's not over. It's not over. It's a continuous process. And sometimes when people don't hear from you, they think, well, that's what you want me to do. Or it's okay in what I'm doing, because no one has called, no one has said anything about anything. If you live in your municipality, you should have gone to at least a few school board meetings. Now everything is virtual. But you should have gone to some council or committee meetings. That's virtual. Freeholder meetings, that's virtual now. So it's no excuse. You don't even have to leave the confounds of your home to find out exactly what is going on in your community. And that's important. It's important that we keep that going. We have one more caller that will be calling in for Township Committee for Hamilton Township. Now, out in Hamilton Township, they have a different form of government like EHT and Galloway and Brigantine, where it's a committee form of government, and then they pick the mayor among themselves. Totally different from the Atlantic City and Pleasantville, where you vote for your person that you want to be your mayor and so on and so forth. But in that township, in our township, you vote for a committee person, and then the committee person among themselves decides who will be the mayor. So that's how that goes. All right. So you have to make sure that you're listening to, going to the Facebook pages right now, or social media, I should say, and looking at the platforms of the candidates, or looking for what they stand for, or if you know them, even if you know them. I mean, you know me, and I'm running, but that doesn't mean that you don't hold me accountable. I don't want you just voting for me because you know me and I'm out there in the community. I want people to vote for me who know that I'm going to do the best job. You want the person who's going to do the best job in that particular seat. So that's important. And whenever and whoever gets elected, again, hold them accountable. Don't just vote and then get your, and after it's over with, go and don't you don't know what they're doing. The next thing you know, all kind of laws have been passed and you were totally unaware of anything that was going to go on. So while we're waiting on our next person to call in, we want you to know that also in USA Today on yesterday, that Reverend Al Sharpton, he announced a historical anniversary march in Washington on the anniversary of the historical demonstration on August the 28th, was when Dr. Martin Luther King made his famous speech, "I Have a Dream." And this will be the 57th anniversary of the historical march on Washington, and it's to restore and recommit that dream. Reverend R. Sharpton began to talk about this, that we're going back to Washington and we want to restore and recommit the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King. So that's going to be done on August the 28th in D.C. And I have been on several of his events down in Washington, and it was really great. It was really, really great, well organized. The National Action Network has moved their conference to September, but I don't know if that's going to change, because most people have changed their events until 2021, because no one really knows how to social distance at these conferences. It's still kind of new. No one knew COVID-19 was coming. I can't say no one knew, but most of us didn't know that we were going to have a COVID-19 and how to operate in that. Now, Governor Murphy did announce that the churches can start going back to their churches on the second Sunday in June with 30% of their congregations. You know, and as long as people were social distancing, and they can go back, or a lot of people have resorted to having services on the outside. Some are having them in their cars. A lot of people have been doing that. I know New Hope will be having a service this week in the car service on this week. New Hope Baptist Church, Reverend Dr. John Howard. I know they're going to be in their cars in the parking lot. From what I have seen. Also, I want to give you some more information. Join the students in Stockton Master's Arts in the counseling program for an interactive virtual session which will cover the following: tips and tools for anxiety and depression, how to have a social life when social distancing, adapting to work and school from home, coping with the media and news. I want to stop right there because a lot of times people look at the news all day long. You got to take a break from that. You cannot stay in front of CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Fox, CBS all day long and not move. You have to move. Take a break and then come back to it. Coexisting and navigating relationships in quarantine. Caring for yourself and your family in difficult times. This is going to be held on Friday, June the 12th at 5 o'clock p.m. And this is being sponsored by Stockton. Some students at Stockton. So you can go to Eventbrite and get that information off of Eventbrite. All right. So that's one thing that is going on another thing that is going on in our community. Let's see here. I'm waiting on my next person to call in. Again, we have 3 people running. Okay. Egg Harbor Township. Thank you, co-host. Egg Harbor Township will be having a peaceful protest today at 12:45. They will be assembling at the Egg Harbor Township Community Center, and that will be at 1 o'clock will be the start time. 1 o'clock will be the start time when they will be, so there will be a protest, a peaceful protest. That's the difference. A peaceful protest in Egg Harbor Township, and that will start at 12:45, and that will be at the EHT Community Center at 1 o'clock p.m. So that's going on here, and I think a lot of people a lot of awareness is being brought back. I was thinking about what was the difference between Rodney King in 1992 and George Floyd. Well, for one, there was no social media, and there was a different. I think I was about. I'm dating myself. I'm not gonna go there, but I was younger. I was younger during that time, and I was saying there are a lot of similarities between the Rodney King incident in California and what's going on. What happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But the difference is we have a more vast people who can look at it on social media. We have a new generation that is rising up and want to see some change. They want to see change. I want to see some change. Change has to take place, and change will take place. Change is going to happen. So I want to thank my co-host for making sure that I knew about that rally. And again, there's going to be a prayer for change service on tomorrow. And this service is dedicated for change. Well, here comes my caller. My caller is calling in. Hello? Hello?
Hi, this is John Kurtz.
Thank you so much for calling in on the show, and you're the last candidate to call in on today and talk about your campaign for Hamilton Township.
Sure.
Say something about yourself, Mr. Kurtz.
Hi, my name's John Kurtz. I'm a small business owner here in Hamilton Township. I've been very active in the community over the years. I founded the Mays Landing Merchants Association about 20 years ago, which turned out to be a very viable organization within our community, which developed a lot of the events and programs that we have downtown. It's been a real pleasure to work with them all this time, and then I've served on township committee for 8 years, and I've been on the planning board for a long amount of time. And in the township, I've been very fortunate to serve as mayor and still sit as township committeeman, and I'm running for my seat on the township again.
Well, that's good. And I've known you for several years, and you have a wonderful business downtown, and you have been very involved in the community for a number of years.
Yeah, I enjoy working with the township residents. That's why I ran for committee. I've been fortunate the last few years to serve on the budget committee. And that work is going to be extremely difficult next year with this pandemic situation that we've had. The budget situation next year is going to be difficult, and I would like to be there to help with that. Again, as serving on a budget committee for the last number of years, we've managed to keep the municipal tax rate level 0, or just 1 year we had to go up a penny. But we always try to keep the tax rate down. This coming year, I want to be able to work on the budget again to make sure we can try to hold it as stable as possible with all the things coming at us. The state probably is not going to have the amount of funds they used to have for the municipalities, and we're going to have to be very creative in how we handle the budget next year. And I'm looking forward to be there to serve on it and serve the people.
Absolutely. How can people contact you if they want to contact you?
Well, they can always contact me through the township website, just John Kurtz at townshipofhamilton.com. And they can also call the town hall and ask for me. But I'd be very happy to give out my cell phone. It's 609-457-6641. I have a lot of people call me, particularly now with this virus situation on, wanting to know if I heard anything on what's opening and what's closing and when they're going to be able to do business. Sometimes the answers are hard, but we're trying to do the best we can with what we have.
Absolutely. And you have a business too, so it's been, I'm sure, very difficult.
Yes, as a small business owner, we're in the floral business, so we kind of missed our Easter holiday totally. Our Mother's Day holiday was down significantly because our front of our store is still closed, and we weren't able to have customers come in. And in our type of work, they really want to see the flowers, pick them out. It's all about the service, and that part of it we were unable to do. However, we were able to make some social distancing deliveries and also have some curbside pickup. We're hoping that we'll be able to open by the 15th if what we hear is good, and we certainly hope it is, because the small businesses really need to get back in business.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for calling in on my show today. And I've asked everybody, and I'm going to ask you too, there was supposed to be a rally in Mays Landing. Have you heard if that was canceled or not?
Yes, I have. I spoke to the police chief last night, who said from the FBI down to the sheriff's department, down to the municipalities, they have no credible information of anything happening today in Mays Landing or right in our area. So that's the last I heard as of 8 o'clock last night. And right now it looks very peaceful uptown. It's quiet. There are no crowds. I see no people milling around. So I absolutely don't think that there's anything going to happen. Keep in mind, though, that a peaceful protest is something that's allowed to happen.
Absolutely.
And if that happened, I think it should be accepted like other peaceful protests. We just are certainly hoping we don't see any of the protesting that turns into something that ends up with destruction of businesses and property. But peaceful protesting is something that can go forward if it happens.
All right. I certainly thank you, Mr. Kurtz, for calling in on my show today, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Thelma. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too. We also want to say we're praying for the Barton family. Superintendent Pastor William Barton went home to be with the Lord, and his services viewing will be on Tuesday at the Mays Funeral Home in Sicklerville. So we want you to continue to pray for their family and everyone who has lost someone during this time. Did you enjoy our program today? I know you did. Thanks for tuning in to In the Community with Dr. Thelma and Lady Parrish, right here on your favorite gospel two-time Stellar Award winning station, WEHA 88.7, 100.3 FM. We have gospel. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you all next week.